Hey everybody, it's Missy again. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm back with a new layout for the Hip Kit Club, and I'm using the 2018 May kits for this. And this is up on the blog today for Mixed Media Monday. My assignment for today was to create something focusing on these really pretty Heidi Swap die cut papers, and there are 6 different ones. They're all about 6 by 6, and they're in the embellishment kit. And I pulled out 3 to start with, and I'm actually going to use a dark blue background for this. I can't think of the name of it, but it's in the cardstock kit, and it's a really pretty, not a true navy, but I don't know what color blue this is, but it is so pretty. And I thought I'm going to challenge myself and do the complete opposite of what I usually do, which is use white cardstock. And this first part of this layout sort of is an experiment, and I thought I'm just going to try this and see how it turns out, and if I like it I'll go with it, and if I don't I'll just get rid of it and start over with white. But I love how this turns out. I pulled out the 4 colors of the Vicky Bouton acrylic paints that we get in the color kit this month, and I just start to squirt it onto the paper and scrape it on with a palette knife. And the blue color that I use first is a really light teal color or turquoise color, and it's called Blue Hawaiian. And then on top of that I'm adding Juicy Pear, and I'm scraping it really thin so it doesn't take that long to dry. I wanted to lighten that up and just continue to add layers, and so I pulled out the white gesso. And you're probably thinking, this looks terrible, what is she doing? This looks like a big splotchy mess. And I've learned from experience that sometimes when you're creating a messy, artsy looking background like this, it has to look terrible before it can look good. So just bear with the process if you are new to mixed media or you want to try this, because it's definitely going to look bold, especially on dark background. So I got that dry, and now I'm going to use this really pretty rose die cut paper here. It's not cardstock, it's a thicker paper. I'm not sure what it's cut from, but I'm going to use it as a mask, and this turns out really, really neat. I'm going to mix the 2 other colors of paint, the light pink, which is coral macaroon, and the more of the hot pink color, which is called sugared strawberry. And that's my little ink blending tool that I use quite a bit. And I'm just going over the top of the flower with the paint, kind of smushing it down and dabbing it. And so when I peel this off, you're going to see the shape of the flower and the leaves. I'm going back in with the Juicy Pear, and this is going to look sort of messy. It's not going to look very neat and organized. Not organized, but you can see what I'm talking about there. It looks kind of hazy and splotchy, which is the exact look I was going for. So when I pulled that up, I thought, ooh, I like this. I'm going to keep going with it. And it was an experiment that turned out in my favor, I think, because I was very happy with how it looked. So yeah, I haven't even chosen my picture yet. I just wanted to make the background and then see how it turned out. And then I thought, okay, then I'll sort through my pictures and decide. Sometimes I start with my picture, and sometimes I just want to make a background and then I find a picture that works. And so that was the case for this one. But I really love how this looks. And there's a ton of different ways that you can use those die cut papers. You could spray them and use them as is, or you could use them as a stencil or a mask like I'm doing here. I really wanted to use this really tiny square grid one also, and so I'm going to just use it the same way, just dab some of the paint right on top of it just to create a fun shape in the background. And you can see it there, it's very subtle. And I love how that looks. I love how all these paints look on that blue background. It's really pretty. So yeah, this is addicting. I just wanted to keep smudging paint through the stencil. You just kind of smush it down and you get, you could get a lot of paint through there if you add a lot, or just a little bit. Just depends on the look that you're going for. But this is a great technique. So then I wanted to add some splatters to my background. So all I did was water down the paint with a brush and then just go to town with the splatters, and it's going to show up really, really well on the dark background. I highly recommend, if you're going to use a dark background like a dark blue or a black, the splatters with acrylic paint work great. Sometimes just regular ink sprays will soak right through the paper, and especially if it's a dark color, you're not going to be able to see them that well, but the acrylic paint is so much thicker, and it's going to dry pretty much as you see it right there. And I love how that looked. So this was something that I thought I would try. Didn't work that great because of the dark background, but I thought I would pull out some of the Distress Oxides and kind of add some shading on top of the dry paint, but you can't really see it. I was able to get a little bit of hazy light shading. You can kind of see how it looks hazy around the edges, but that's pretty much all I got because it's, you know, it's such a dark background and the color did not really want to show. So the Distress Oxides work a lot better, I think, on lighter backgrounds. So I wanted to do a little more with this grid stencil or this grid paper, and so I pulled out the Vicki Boutin Glimmer. What's it called? It's called Creative FX Iridescent Glaze. I never would have remembered that. And I thought I would just add a little bit more. And it looks like white, but it's going to dry really shimmery. And then I thought, let's kind of smudge it up and make it look even a little messy. And I thought, you know, I almost didn't like the way that looked. I thought it kind of covered up all the pretty colors that I added, but I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep adding to it, and I think it's going to work. It's going to work in the end. And it's not white. It's more of a shiny, but the way it shines in the light, it makes it look white. But yeah, you'll be able to see as I go here how I kind of work with it. I decided to add more splatters with the green, and I'm not done with flowers. I'm going to come back. So now you can see how shiny that is. Yeah, when I tilt it in the light, you can see that it's more iridescent. It's not white, but in this light, it's very bright. So I found the perfect picture for this. This is Paige sitting on our patio. She loves to sort through mulch and leaves and just anything that is on the ground or in the flower bed. She's obsessed with it. And so she'll spend hours on the concrete with her little feet stuck up in the flower bed looking for mulch. Who knows, but that just fascinates her. And so I got some pictures of her. This is actually a few years ago, but I love the colors in the picture, all the greenery, and I think it was perfect for this dark background. So to kind of add some more color instead of all the dark green and blue, I pulled out a couple of the pattern papers that I'm going to use as really subtle layers behind the picture. And I didn't want to go with too many big layers behind the picture because I didn't want to cover up those flowers. So all I'm going to do is cut a couple pieces here and do a little bit of tearing, a little bit of cutting, and then a little bit of edge distressing there just to kind of give it some texture. And I almost didn't want to add the yellow, but then once I did, I kind of liked it. And so yellow is going to be another color that I work with here. So when I decided to go with yellow, I thought I need a yellow flower in the background. And so I'm going to come back with the flower stencil or mask, and then I pulled out a couple of color kits ago. We got a tube of the Dina Wakley heavy body acrylic paint in lemon, and so that is what I'm using there. I can't remember what month. It was three months ago maybe. And so I'm just doing the same thing I did earlier. I did add a little bit of white paint from my stash just to lighten it up a little bit, but I think that makes a nice addition to the background. And so I'm going to add the yellow in there. I pulled out this Pink Fresh Studio paper to fussy cut the leaves out to add some more leaves in the background that aren't flat to kind of pop up off the page. And then I went through the embellishments. I pulled out some of the chipboard flowers from Simple Stories and then some of the Amy Tangerine die cuts over there on the left. And I was gravitating more toward pretty much everything that was a flower since I've got the flowers in the background. And there really are no flowers in the photo, even though they're there, they just haven't bloomed yet. But you can't really see any flowers in the background, but I'm kind of going to go with the flower theme. Then I thought I need some gold on this background. The iridescent glaze just wasn't enough. So here we go with the gold color shine. And it didn't turn out that well because the stencil wasn't lying flat, and so it just looks like I sprayed the Heidi Swapp gold color shine on there, which is fine because I would totally do that anyway. But I like the addition of the gold. If you've ever splattered gold color shine on dark background paper or dark cardstock, it is stunning. It shows up so well, so pretty. So all I'm doing is layering here and working on sticking in all those flowers. And then I decided I'm not done with the background. This is my brain. It's so weird. I can't ever get finished with the background. I wanted those little squares to show up a little bit more. And so I came back in with the light pink and just kind of went back over it again to add another layer of interest and texture and color. And it's very subtle, but you'll be able to see it in the close-ups. So now that I've got the flowers where I want them, I'm going to start to work on some thread. I was going to add in some yellow, but I just decided to go with pink. Add a little bit of pink on the right and a little bit of pink on the left. And then I'm going to get it all glued down. That iridescent glaze is so shiny and so shimmery. It's very pretty. And I overlapped that purple flower. It's a light purple die cut from Amy Tangerine over on the left. I overlapped it on top of the photo because I had some white space there in the picture. I didn't want to cover up too much on the picture because I like having white space in it. And I think there's still white space because if you can see her sitting on it, she's not completely all the way over to the left. So I'm not covering up anything important. Now these little tiny matte gold thickers, there's actually two sheets and they're slightly different color. And the foam, one of the foam is blue, a dark blue, and one of them is white. And so you've got a big variety there. So I'm going to mix and match with some of the gold thickers here from crepe paper. And I saw the word paradise and I thought I'm going to use that and just create my title to say Patio Paradise, because the way the picture is, it looks so lush and tropical and green, and she's on the patio. And so I thought that's a catchy little title. And I added in some of the little leaf fronds there from that gold. It's not true gold, it's more of a coppery gold. It's really pretty. Rose gold maybe. And then this is the Amy Tan clear sticker sheet. I added in some clear stickers, or not clear, they're all clear stickers, white stickers, because the white will show up on that dark background. And then I wanted to add in more because, you know, I'm never done with the background, like I said. I wanted to add in more yellow, and so I just kind of ran some of the flowers off the page. I ran one, why do I keep saying ran? I ran it off the page. I created one up at the top, and then I'm going to create one down at the bottom. Same technique I did earlier, just smushing some yellow and white paint mixed together over the stencil there. And then I'm going to do a leaf as well. And I almost didn't like how that looked. Almost didn't like it. I thought, ew, I should have left it. I should have just left it alone, but it turns out okay. And what I like about that technique with the die cut there is I still have it to use on a future project, and I can always cover it with gesso and paint it different colors. I really wanted to use this little piece here from not Pink Fresh Studio, Pretty Little Studio, but it was orange and I didn't really have any orange on the layout, and so I just got some of the paint that's pink and colored it to add some shading to it, and I made it a pink color. So don't be afraid to add color to your die cuts if it's not the color that you want. So you just have to make it match, and so that's what I did. I pulled out this other little pink one that says, what does it say? It says something about sunshine. And I'm going to stick that right there at the bottom. I think it says sunshine. Something I use says sunshine. I come in with a couple of enamel dots, pink up at the top and the bottom, and then a couple around the photo. And then I wanted something right above the picture, and so I cut that little journaling die cut in half and stick that up at the top. Just so you can kind of see the flowers sticking out there. And I always add glue to things, even though it's sticky on the back, because anything with mixed media or gesso, nothing really sticks very well to that. I add my journaling down at the bottom with a white pen, and I add the date, and that's the final layout. I love how this turned out. I love that dark background and all those bright colors popping off of it. And here you can see the close-ups. I highly suggest trying this. If you got the color kit with those acrylic paints, try this on the dark blue background. It's really, really pretty. They stand out really well, and I think the result is really pretty. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions about the kits or the techniques, anything at all, and I will see you in the next video. I hope you have a great week.